They say the desert has a way of swallowing everything, even time itself. You step foot into the Sahara, and suddenly centuries melt away. Here in the heart of Algeria, where shadows stretch like phantoms across endless dunes, an old legend stirs. It's the tale of the shadow bride of the desert. I first heard it years ago, a whisper in the marketplace, an old Berber woman telling fortunes under the almond tree, and then that crazy journalist Hamid who went chasing ghosts and never came back. Maybe he learned his lesson. But me, I couldn't resist. Not when my editor sent me to cover some festival or other and gave me extra time to make my own story. There was something haunting about the prospect of this forgotten village. Ain Talib, they call it, a place lost to history, or so they say. My guide, Hassan, kept glancing nervously over his shoulder. "Are you sure about this, Mr.?" he asked. "Everyone knows better than to go poking around there. This place, it has a bad reputation. They say the very ground remembers what happened here, and the spirits don't take kindly to outsiders, especially men." I appreciated his concern, but I could see it was more than fear that made him uneasy. It was something akin to terror. It was clear to me that whatever he was saying, we had to keep going. Curiosity burned through me. I knew that once I stepped foot into those cursed ruins, there was no turning back. It took us 3 hours to find the remains of Ain Talib. We passed through small villages, slept under makeshift tents along the road, bartered with nomadic tribesmen, and avoided police checkpoints. Finally, just as the sun dipped below the horizon, "There," he whispered, gesturing towards a line of jagged rocks rising above the dunes. "That is where it lies, Mr. Butt. Perhaps it is best we do not enter." But I had come too far to turn back now. The air grew colder as we approached the village. The sky, usually brilliant with stars, was a blanket of impenetrable darkness. There wasn't even a whisper of wind to stir the sand. I reached for my flashlight, only to realize it was dead. "Hassan, I think we should head back," I said quietly, a sudden chill crawling up my spine. But the guide was already edging past me, beckoning me forward. "Just a little further, Mr. You can see the lights from the road. It is safe now." He was right. We could see the flickering lights of traffic in the distance. But what he couldn't know, was that I was no longer afraid of leaving. A strange pull, like an invisible magnet, held me fast to the spot. As I stared into the gloom, a shape emerged from the darkness. The silhouette of a woman, tall and slender, draped in a long white gown, stood silhouetted against the dying light. Her arms were outstretched as if in greeting. My breath caught in my throat, and without thinking, I called out. The woman turned, revealing the outline of her face, pale and delicate, framed by a thick black veil. Before I could react, she glided back into the darkness and vanished. Was it a ghost? A figment of my imagination? Or something else entirely? With my camera clutched tightly, I followed the woman deeper into the village. The closer I got, the stronger the feeling of dread became. I could sense Hassan's unease growing with each step. Finally, the path opened into a small square dominated by a crumbling stone tower. At its base was a weathered marble plaque inscribed with faded Arabic script. According to local law, the tower was once a watchtower used by soldiers to defend the village from marauders. It also marked the entrance to an underground labyrinth leading to the homes of the villagers. But the tunnels had collapsed long ago, leaving the village cut off from the rest of the world. At the far end of the square, I saw the source of the eerie glow that had drawn me to this place. 7 oil lamps hanging from hooks above a doorway. Each lamp was filled with a burning black liquid that hissed and crackled like burning oil. The air was thick with the smell of sulfur. Fear prickled at the back of my neck. Why had the villagers sealed themselves in this tomb? What dark secret did they hold? Was the woman in white their guardian, their prisoner, or something more sinister? Suddenly, a voice startled me. "Who goes there?" I whirled around to find a wizened old man staring at me from beneath a tattered blue cap. His eyes, dark and fathomless, seemed to pierce through me. "I am from the city," I replied cautiously. "I just wanted to see the village, learn its history." The old man snorted derisively. "You seek knowledge? Then listen closely. This place holds no answers, only questions. Questions that drive men mad. If you are truly curious, then ask yourself why this place is cursed, why the soldiers abandoned their post, why the tunnels collapsed, and why the bride walks forever in her tomb." He spoke in riddles, but his words echoed the legends I'd heard before. The villagers of Ain Talib had been said to have worshipped an ancient deity, a being of darkness and secrets hidden beneath the sands. When Roman soldiers arrived to suppress the cult, the villagers fled into the tunnels, sealing the entrances behind them. Some say the god cursed the village, turning it into a prison of shifting sand and shattered bones. Others say the bride is the god. But what brought her here in the first place? The old man leaned closer, his breath smelling of mint and dust. "The bride comes for a groom," he rasped. "A groom who seeks the truth, who dares to enter her domain and unravel the mysteries of this accursed place. Are you such a man?" His words hung in the air between us. A challenge, a warning. I hesitated, torn between the allure of discovery and the pull of suffering. Could I really venture into the unknown and survive? What if the stories were true? What if I became another victim of the curse of Ain Talib? Then something stirred within me, a thirst for knowledge that outweighed my fear. I met the old man's gaze, my resolve hardening. "Yes," I whispered, my voice echoing in the stillness. "I am that man." As I stepped into the darkness beyond the lamps, the old man's cryptic words echoed in my ears. "Beware the bride's embrace, for it brings only sorrow and despair. Yet if you seek her out, perhaps she may grant you a wish." Was he offering me a bargain? What was the price? I moved deeper into the village, the oppressive silence pressing down on me. The air grew thick, heavy with the scent of decay. Above the sky was a dome of impenetrable darkness. The oil lamps cast grotesque shadows that danced and twisted in the gloom. Suddenly, I heard movement. Footsteps, soft and measured, echoed around me. Turning, I saw a shape emerging from the shadows, the same woman who had greeted me earlier. She wore the same white dress, her face still veiled. But now I saw something else, something terrible. Her feet did not touch the ground. She floated above the sand, suspended in midair. Terror gripped me, paralyzing me with fear. Yet I couldn't look away. She glided closer, her steps silent, her presence overwhelming. As she drew nearer, I could feel the life draining from me, replaced by an icy dread that seeped into my bones. She stopped before me, her form shimmering like heat haze. And then she spoke, her voice a hollow whisper that seemed to emanate from the desert itself. "Welcome, seeker," she said. "What brings you to my humble abode?" Her words were kind, inviting, yet they sent shivers down my spine. I knew in that moment that I had walked into a trap. The bride had lured me here, and now she held me in her grasp. Overcome with a sudden surge of courage, I pushed past my fear and blurted out, "Why are you here? What happened to you?" The bride's form flickered, and for a moment I glimpsed something behind the veil, a flash of wild eyes and contorted features. But then it vanished again, leaving me in the grip of fear and uncertainty. "Curious," she murmured, her voice dripping with mock sympathy. "You seek answers, little moth, while knowing full well that some mysteries are best left buried. Why disturb the slumbering dead?" Her words hung in the air, heavy with menace. I realized that I had awakened something ancient and evil, something that should have remained trapped beneath the sands of time. With a start, I remembered the old man's warning. I had become entangled in the bride's game, and now she held all the cards. I searched desperately for a way out, but the darkness offered no escape. I was trapped in a labyrinth of my own making. And then she struck her attack, swift and brutal. One moment I was standing there, frozen with fear, and the next I was collapsing into the sand, the taste of blood flooding my mouth. As the world spun around me, I caught a glimpse of the bride's triumphant form towering above me. Her laughter echoed in my ears, a sound that chilled me to the bone. "You sought me out, little seeker," she hissed, her voice laced with venomous delight. "Now you shall have me. Now we shall be together forever." And with that, she vanished, leaving me alone in the darkness, the weight of her malevolent presence pressing down on me like a shroud. When I finally stumbled back to the old man, he was gone. The lamps were sputtering, casting long, distorted shadows that writhed like tormented souls. The village was silent now, the air thick with menace. Was this how the villagers had met their end? Had they, too, been lured to their deaths by the bride's ghostly allure? In the fading light I saw the old man kneeling beside a fresh grave. He turned, his face creased with sorrow. "Too late," he whispered, his eyes filled with regret. "She claimed him. Soon she will claim you, too. Only the desert remembers now, and the desert does not speak." I understood then that I had lost, that the bride had already claimed another victim for her eternal horde, but I also knew that I couldn't leave yet. Not until I uncovered the truth of this accursed place, the truth that lay buried beneath the sands of Ain Talib. So I stayed in the ruins of Ain Talib, haunted by the bride's presence, searching for answers in the whispers of the wind and the shifting dunes. For weeks I lived among the ghosts of the past, piecing together the fragments of a forgotten tragedy. And in the end, I discovered a love story as haunting as any horror, a tale of devotion and sacrifice that transcended even death itself. But that, dear listener, is a story for another time. For now, the desert grows dark, and the bride awaits her next dance beneath the veil of endless night.